Hello, this is Marc and this is a short informative video on my court appearance or my lack of court appearance that happened today at BC Supreme Court. Backgrounders are necessary for this, okay? Basically, at the beginning of the election season here in Vancouver, there were other parties at the event and other people doing this. It's called electioneering because 5 months before election season, campaigns can start. Okay. In BC's case, that was the 15th of June, which happened to be car-free days. Okay. Now, prior to this, I'd had several discussions with Revenue Canada in regard to doing these IC75 receipts, IC75 2R8 receipts, okay? And they're a tax loophole, okay? And basically, it's you're allowed to collect and remit political party donations in order to protect your beliefs. And I extended this to remitting a sales tax to a vested interest in my district, which is a clever loophole. Now, the reality is I went to an event where they stole $3,000 worth of cookies and smoothies, and they had no case. And you can read about it on the thing. I should give a brief explanation. The one cop, he said that the cookies were perfectly legal, but they contained criminal product, namely the marijuana that made the cookies. But the cookies themselves are legal. It's okay to have pot cookies, but you know what? You can't sell them, okay? Now, the second guy was, that was the peace officer's possession. The law enforcement officer, the one with the number, his thing was that because there was these ladies giving away cookies at the event, because there's this new compassion club. I don't hold anything against them. They had nice, pretty girls handing out cookies up and down the block to people who were wanting cookies. And when I came to do my political donations of cookies, they said, Mr. Boyer, you're not allowed to sell these cookies. I said, I'm not. I'm collecting political donations for these cookies, okay? And they says, oh, no, you can't do that. And I says, yes, I can. It's political season. And he says, well, you got to get a booth like everybody else. I says, no, I don't, because I have a rolling cart. And the rolling cart is all I need. And during election season, I can do this at any public event. And this is a public event. So says the rules and regulations of IC 75-2R8, which is this protocol that allows you to turn in from what's called a quasi-legal activity into a perfectly legal political activity. Okay? Now, all these people who say compassion clubs, there's no such thing as a legal way to buy and sell pot in Canada or grow pot legally. They are correct, but people have been doing it for 15, 20 years in Canada through the Societies Act, which is a lawful activity. Okay? They're there to protect human beliefs, and it's basically quasi-legal common law jurisdiction. Now, the reality is societies don't need a building permit. They don't need an occupational license, and they operate under the Societies Act. But everybody's hoodwinked into saying that pot's illegal to buy and sell. No, it's perfectly lawful to do it under the Societies Act. Now, the Elections Act is also under the Societies Act. And charitable RCA charities, Canada Revenue Charities, is also under the under Charities Act, and it's a whole branch of Revenue Canada that exists under the Societies Act for the purposes of politicians using it. Okay, now I'm using exemptions under this IC 75-2R8 form, and it's perfectly legal for me to have a ticket for a $5 ticket, and I'll sell it for $6, and I take $1 taxable donation. And where the quirk is I'm remitting a tax, a 10% tax on the whole sale, to a vested body. And in our case, there's our native reservations or the city of Vancouver. Now, that's my position with the things is that one of the two are going to take the tax, and as soon as that's done, pot's legal. Now, the reality is as the city says, everything in Vancouver is unceded native territory. That means the Musqueams and the Squamish and several other tribes, to my knowledge, have reserves here. Now, since they owned it all at any given time, if they take the tax from a compassion club, means that compassion club becomes part of the native reservation. And police know they're not supposed to cross those jurisdiction lines. And what makes that transfer back into their registry is the payment of taxes. Technically, I'm in Quadra, and I'm offering a tax to the Musqueam band. And they're playing possum. They're trying to skirt the issues. I know they have bigger issues to play with, and it involves many other things. But there are many other reserves who will are bands that are open to taking the money. Okay, yeah. It's that simple. Plus, you regain territorial claim to these chunks of the city that because these establishments are not paying taxes to you. So basically, I'm making an offer to the city that you either accept the tax or we'll give it to a native band. And frankly, if neither of those want it, there's a vested body called the legions. Okay, every legion, headquarters of every branch, is a vested body in my electoral district or Vancouver South. All the electoral districts have legion halls, and every one of them is a vested body who could take the tax. And that's a whole new territory that I'm now pursuing, because technically somebody wants $25 to $50 million worth of revenue for BC alone. Okay? And whoever cashes in on it will get the tax, and that's all there is to it. I call it a guaranteed way to legalize pot, because whoever takes the tax has to enforce that it's now legal to do it. And you'll get occupational licenses, you'll get permits, you'll have fire inspections, you'll have to meet all the codes and regulations of a regular business. But it totally normalizes the business, and that's very important. Okay? Now, I did this through a legal quirk and pushed the buttons right off the bat on June 15th at the beginning of the electoral season, and they stole $3,000 worth of cookies. And on that, I'll have a part 2 on that, okay? But basically, I'm ramming it through them that now where it's coming from is if they don't take the money, someone will. Whoever takes the money first legalizes pot.